Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Steve again, Old Man Reads. I'm going to go ahead and do the I'll Get Around to It Later book tag. Shannon from Shannon's Shelf tagged me in this a couple of weeks ago, and it kind of makes sense that I procrastinated doing the tag about procrastination. So, I actually planned on doing it that same day that he tagged me, and life got in the way. The holidays, I traveled twice for the holidays, and work has been crazy. So I promised him I would do it. I'm getting around to it. So I got the questions over to the left here. A classic book that you've been meaning to read forever, but haven't yet. I actually just bought this copy of the book 6 or 7 months ago. And my goal was to put this on my bedside stand and read a couple every day. And it's been sitting on my bookshelf ever since. So I really need to start reading this one. This is something that's been recommended to me forever, and I've always wanted to read. But this is Meditations from Marcus Aurelius. This is an annotated edition. I've read through a lot of his little notes throughout the years, just flipping through it in bookstores. And when it comes to stuff like this, I usually understand what's being read. But I like having annotations on certain books. And I've read that the annotations on this one are really good, so I went ahead and grabbed the annotated version of it as opposed to just the normal meditations. So, next up, a book on your shelf that you haven't read. This is another another author that I've wanted to get into forever. I've seen him pop up on best of fantasy lists for at least a decade, maybe 2 decades. And I just never got around to it. So recently I picked up the first book in his long series, Discworld. So this is The Color of Magic from Terry Pratchett. This is one that I want to jump on as soon as I'm done with the Stormlight Archive, and really looking forward to this one. I know a couple of people who list 1 or 2 of the books from this series and their all-time favorites. I think Brandon Sanderson lists one of the books as his all-time favorite book. So definitely looking forward to checking him out. And this is just one of those guys that I've known about for quite a long time. What year was this first published? Let's see. I'm curious about it now. 83. So yeah. So for decades, I've known about him and have just never gotten around to checking him out. So I am really looking forward to this one. This will be one of the first books that I read in 2025. A book that you recently got that you haven't read yet. So I've mentioned in prior videos, anything Japan related, I'm down for. I lived in Japan for a decade. I love it. I would love to go back there and live at some point. I've lived all over the world. That is my favorite place that I've lived. This is a historical fiction book. Let's see what it says. Set in the mythical medieval Japan, inhabited by warriors, assassins, ghosts, and guardian spirits. Let's see. Thread of intricate tapestry, blah, blah, blah. I believe this takes place during the Tokugawa shogunate. Let's see. I thought it said it on here. But this is also an author, let's see, blah, 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 who also lived in Japan and studied Japanese in college. But Emperor of the Eight Islands, The Tale of Shikanoko, by Leon Hearn. So looking forward to reading this one as well. This was just kind of a blind buy. I was at Half Price Books, and the Asian script there just kind of jumped out at me, and I had to grab it. It looks like this is the first in a series. This is only a couple years old. 2022, I believe, is when this one came out. Maybe it was 2021. Oh, wow, I was way off. 2016. So, way off. But looking forward to checking this one out as well. I've got some other... anything with samurai, ninjas, not the 80s ninjas, but the historical ninjas from Ika. I'm down for, whether it's historical fiction, whether it's fantasy based around Japan. That's kind of my jam. What's next? A book that you recently got. Nope, I just did that one. A book that you've had forever but haven't read yet. I haven't had this copy of the book forever, but I have had a copy downloaded to my iPad for a good 7 or 8 years. I started reading the book about a year ago, and the translation that I was reading was pretty bad. I got 100 pages into it, and while I was following the story, it was really the translation was really starting to bug me. And then I read online and found out that it was one of the free ones, one of the free downloads online. And I read from a few sources online that it was a bad translation. And there were 2 others that were recommended to me, the Penguin translation and then this one. This one is the Vintage Pressing of Crime and Punishment from Fyodor Dostoevsky. This is a book I've wanted to read. For this and War and Peace are 2 books that have been on my list that I wanted to read for at least 20 years, and just never got around to it. This is another one that I will read next year. I'm actually really looking forward to getting deeper into this. Like I said, I was already 100 pages into it. It's only a 500-page book, so definitely really looking forward to this one. Let's see, one that you've had forever but haven't, one that you recently got that you haven't read. A book that a friend recommended that you haven't read. So this book has been, or this series, I should say, has been recommended to me by at least a dozen people. Since I started reading the Starlight Archive, everybody's told me I need to go back and read the Mistborn series. So here is Mistborn. I'm not sure when I'm going to start this one. I'm definitely going to take a break from Sanderson after the 5th book comes out in a couple of days. It's supposed to come out on the 6th or the 7th. It's the 4th today. And I still haven't gotten my shipping confirmation. I pre-ordered one of the signed copies a few months ago. So I'm thinking I'm not going to have it by release date, which is fine because I still need to read Rhythm of War. So, it'll give me time to do that. But, I'm going to take a break from Brandon Sanderson for a while. I may read a couple of these other books here that I'm showing you right now before I venture back into the Cosmere. After reading, by that time I'll have read almost 6,000 pages of the Cosmere. So, a book you've been procrastinating on. This one I haven't been procrastinating for a long time on, but I have been for a couple of months. My goal was to read this book in October. I planned to start reading it in September, and then it was on my October TBR for Halloween. And this is Salem's Lot from Stephen King. I'm going back and reading some of the classics from Stephen King that I missed. I started off with Carrie. I need to read Salem. I want to read Salem's Lot next. And I've never read The Shining either. I've read at least 24 of his books, but I haven't read a lot of his classics. So I definitely want to get back and get into those. Salem's Lot. I'm a vampire guy. Anne Rice is one of my all-time favorite authors. I love the Vampire Chronicles. And everybody has always told me that Salem's Lot is a book that I must read. And like I said, I had planned on reading it, but this is a 700-page book as well. And I've been so entrenched in the Starlight Archive for the last 4 months that I wasn't going to take away, or in between two 1,200-page books, I wasn't going to read a 700-page book. So in between the last couple books, I've been reading, 100 or 200-page books, just as kind of a palate cleanser. And once I'm done with the Starlight Archive, this is definitely one that I'll be jumping on. And then last but not least, the next book in your TBR. So I am about 60 pages away from completing Oathbringer, and I will be rolling right into Rhythm of War, Book 4, from the Stormlight Archive, in anticipation for receiving Book 5 at some point in the next few weeks, I hope. I don't know what's going on with the pre-orders lately. It used to be when you pre-ordered a book, you got the book before it showed up in stores, and that hasn't been happening for at least the last year. The last 4 or 5 books that I've pre-ordered, they were in stores for at least a month before I received my copy, which is kind of aggravating. But I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. But it kind of sucks. You want to do the pre-order, support the author, get one of those first editions, those first printings, and unfortunately, you're kind of disadvantaged by it now. Now, a lot of the time when I do the pre-orders, I pre-order signed copies. That's been the case with quite a few books. So in the long run, it's worth it for me as a signature collector, but it still sucks. So that's it, guys. Tell me what you guys think. Any books other than these you would recommend? Your thoughts on these books that I've shown. Other than that, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.